Hello guys, welcome to my channel. This is Ehsan and in today's video we're going to solve an IELTS reading test, Cambridge IELTS Book 9, Test 1, Passage 3. Well, it's better to have your pencil and take notes while watching this video because I'm going to give you lots of tips and tricks. Turn off any distractors and these strategies will help you for other IELTS reading books as well. And try to smile and make yourself relax because this is going to help you, especially during your IELTS exam. If you're new here, please give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and also the notification bell so whenever I upload a new video, you'll be aware of it. Without much further ado, let's jump into it. I'm using this website, startcamp.com, for these videos, and I'm gonna put the link in the description below. I've already covered passage 1 and 2. Now in today's video we're going to cover passage 3, and as you all know, the passage 3 in the IELTS reading test is going to be the most difficult one, so be careful about that. Passage 3, there is no title for this passage, so I'm gonna go ahead for the questions. Just look at the questions, highlight any keywords. Let's see what we have in here. Questions 27 to 30, and no more than 2 words. I'll always try to circle or highlight this one. No more than 2 words for these questions. So, what had to transfer from sea to land before any animals could migrate? I try to highlight the keywords in the questions. Okay, transfer from sea to land before any animals could migrate. Normally these questions are in the same order, so when I find the answer for 27, then I'm looking for the answer for the question 28. So how about questions 31 to 33? True, false, not even. Again, the questions and answers are in the same order, so that's the first question. Turtles. Turtles are among the first group of animals to migrate back to the sea. First group of animals to migrate back to the sea. And the questions 34 to 39, no more than 2 words and or a number. Step 1, method of determining where the ancestors of turtles and tortoises come from. Tortoises is kind of turtles, okay? 71 species. This is a great keyword. When you have a number, this is a great keyword to look for the answers. Okay? So, and again, for this gap fill questions, the questions and answers are in the same order. And question 40, according to the writer, the most significant thing about tortoises is that. The most significant thing. This is the main keyword for this question. So I'm going to read the passage from the beginning till the end. And then look for these keywords, highlighted keywords, and I bear in them in my mind. If you go back far enough, everything lived in the sea. At various points in evolutionary history, enterprising individuals within many different animal groups moved out onto the land, sometimes even to the most parched deserts, taking their own private seawater with them in blood and cellular fluids. In addition to the reptiles, birds, mammals, and insects which we see all around us, other groups that have succeeded out of water include scorpions, snails, crustaceans, I hope I'm right, such as woodlice and land crabs, millipedes and centipedes, spiders, and various worms. And we mustn't forget the plants, without whose prior invasion of the land, none of the other migrations could have happened. Here we have what had to transfer from sea to land. Prior invasion of the land means transferring from sea to land. Before means prior, you see. Any animals could migrate. None of the other migrations could have happened. This is the same sentence for this question. So when you find the paraphrasing vocabularies in the sentence, this is going to be your answer. So the plants is the answer for 27. The plants. Now I go for question 28, because now I should have highlighted keywords about this question. Which two processes are mentioned as those in which animals had to make big changes as they moved onto the land? Moved onto the land. Okay, big changes, moved onto the land. Moving from water to land involved a major redesign. Major redesign, big changes of every aspect of life, including breathing and reproduction. These are the two processes. For two, you need and. It's another clue for you guys. Okay? And because it says no more than two words, you cannot write breathing and reproduction. Just write breathing, and just with the space, write reproduction. No and between them. Okay? Now, question 29. Which physical feature possessed by their ancestors do whales lack? Okay. Nevertheless, a good number of true-going land animals later turned around, abandoned their hard-earned terrestrial retooling, and returned to the water again. Returned to the water again. Here it says turtles are among the first group of animals to migrate back to the sea. Return to the water again is equal to migrate back to the sea, but it did not mention about something about turtles. If they said some another animals, you have to write false, but they didn't mention anything, so this is actually not given. It is always difficult. As you see, I maybe move from this type of questions to another type because I'm just looking for the keywords, the highlighted keywords. Then I'm move to the next question. It is always difficult to determine where an animal lived when its fossilized remains are incomplete. Okay, and here the physical feature. Seals have only gone part way back. They show us what the intermediates might have been like on the way to extreme cases such as whales and dugongs, if I'm right. Whales, including the small whales we call dolphins, the concentration is on whales, so be careful about this. Which physical feature possessed by their ancestor do whales lack? You see, this is bringing the bell in your brain, okay? Including the small whales we call dolphins and dugongs, with their close cousins, the manatees, ceased to be land creatures altogether and reverted to the full marine habitats of their remote ancestors. Okay? They don't even come ashore to breathe. They do, however, still breathe air, having never developed anything equivalent, having never developed anything equivalent to the gills of their earlier marine incarnation. Incarnation is a particular life. Earlier incarnation means ancestors. Having never developed means lack. And they're talking about they means refer to whales. So which physical feature? It's about gills, the organ that you can that actually fish can breathe air. So as you all know, reading test is a vocabulary test. You have to know lots of new vocabularies and particular vocabulary for this test. So the next question, which animals? We're looking for the name of the animals. This is important that predict what kind of answer you're looking for. Might ichthyosaurs, if I'm right, have resembled? Which animals this ich, ich, ichthyosaurs have resembled? Okay, resembled. Maybe they use resemble, look like. Okay, turtles went back to the sea a very long time ago, and like all vertebrate returnees to the water, they breathe air. However, they are in one respect less fully given back to the water than whales or dogs, for turtles still lay their eggs on beaches. So, there is evidence that all modern turtles are descended from a terrestrial ancestor which lived before most of the dinosaurs. There are two key fossils called Progonocles questediti and Palacursis talampinensis. Sorry for the spelling, I'm not sure about that. Dating from early dinosaur times, which appear to be close to the ancestry of all modern turtles and tortoises. You might wonder how we can tell whether fossil remains lived on land or in water, especially if only fragments are found. Be careful, it is always difficult to determine where an animal lived when its fossilized remains are incomplete. You might wonder how we can tell whether fossil animals lived on land or in water, especially if only fragments. If only fragments are found, it means the fossils are incomplete. Here it says it is always difficult to determine. It's always difficult to determine, but and the next sentence it says sometimes it's obvious. So this is the answer for this question. So it's completely false. It's a false statement. Why? Because it's not always difficult. It sometimes it's obvious. Now the next question, the habitat of ichthyosaurs can be determined by the appearance of their fossilized remains. Can be determined, okay? Habitat, the place to live. And here for this one resembled the most clue word actually. Ichthyosaurs were reptilian contemporaries of the dinosaurs with fins and streamlined bodies. The fossils look like dolphins. Resembles what? Animals. Which animals? Actually dolphins. So this is the answer for this question. And here, and they surely lived like dolphins in the water. With turtles, it is a little less obvious. One way to tell is by measuring the bones of their forelimbs. Okay, so the habitat of ichthyosaurs can be determined by the appearance of their fossils. Yes, of course, because here it says that the fossils of ichthyosaurs look like dolphins, and they surely lived like dolphins in the water. Actually, the previous sentence says that were reptilian contemporaries of the dinosaurs with fins and streamlined bodies. And before that, it says that sometimes it's obvious. Actually, all of these sentences confirm that this is the true statement. Okay. Now, next questions. And here the clue word 71 species. So we are at the right time, at the right place actually. Here it says 71 species of living turtles and tortoises were examined, and a total of what? Were taken. You see, were taken. You need a plural noun here, and no more than 2 words and or a number. Were taken from the bones of their forelimbs. Walter Joyce and Jacques Gautier at Yale University obtained 3 measurements in these particular bones of 71 species of living turtles and tortoises. So obtains 3 measurements. This is a plural noun, and the answer is 3 measurements actually. And be careful about the spelling. Step 2. The data was reported on a what? Here we need a singular noun necessary for comparing the information. Okay, the questions and answers are in the same order. Bear that in your mind for this type of questions. You have to know whether the question and answer are in the same order or not in the same order. They use the kind of triangular graph paper to plot the 3 measurements against one another. Against one another means compare information. Here is the paraphrase. And kind of what? Triangular graph. So here you have to write triangular graph for your answer. In your answer sheet actually. Outcome. Land tortoises were represented by a dense dash of points toward the top. Next sentence. All the land tortoise species formed a tight cluster of points in the upper part of the triangle. A tight, you see how the paraphrase it. A tight cluster, a dense cluster of points in the upper part of the triangle towards the top. This is the paraphrase word. And again, I prepared an IELTS keyword table for you guys, and I'm gonna put the link in the description below to familiarize your eyes with these kind of paraphrasing phrases and expressions and vocabularies in the IELTS exam. Okay, and you can review them on whenever you are on metro and subway or on the bus. You can review them. So the answer is actually cluster. Okay. For step 3, the same data was collected from some living what? A species. It's a kind of a species actually. We're looking for kind of a species. Try to guess what is going to be on the blank part and add it to the other results. Okay. All the water turtles cluster in the lower part of the triangle graph. There was no overlap except when they added some species. That spend time both in water and on the land. Which species? Sure enough, these amphibious species. This is the answer for this question. Show up on the triangular graph approximately halfway between. Okay, be careful about the spelling. Amphibious species and added to the other results. Outcome. The points of these species turn out to be positioned where? About. For about, they may have used some another words like approximately, which is a great vocabulary for IELTS writing task 1. You see how the different skills for your exam related to each other. Okay, show up. Amphibious species show up on the triangular graph approximately halfway. For about, they use approximately vocabulary. Halfway between the wet cluster of sea turtles and the dry cluster of the land tortoises. Between this one and that one, this is a positioned, and halfway is the right answer. Positions about halfway up the triangle. You see, triangle graph, they use it before approximately up the triangle between the land turtle and the sea turtles. You see this between sentence after this blank part actually. So the answer is halfway. Step 4. For this one, outcome. The position of the points indicated that both these ancient creatures were what? Next sentence. The next step, step 4, was to determine where the fossils fell. The bones of P. quenstedti and P. thalampenis leave us in no doubt. Their points on the graph are right in the thick of the dry cluster. Both is the main keyword. Both these fossils were what? Were dry land tortoises. Dry land, actually here, be careful. Dry land with hyphen is just one word, and tortoises is another word. So you're still on that hint that you have to use no more than 2 words. It's not 3 words. It's just 2 words. Dry land tortoises. And the last question. Most significant thing about tortoises. So, you might think therefore the modern land tortoises have probably stayed on land ever since those early terrestrial times, as most mammals did after a few. Actually, you have to look something related to most significant thing. You can move your eyes so quickly. This is a great practice. What is it? Most significant thing. Tortoises, actually, you can find tortoises on all different parts of this passage. But for this question, what is something, or maybe it's paraphrasing most significant thing? Here, remarkable. Tortoises, therefore, represent a remarkable double return. In common, actually, this is the returning to what? To sea or to land. In common with all mammals, reptiles, and birds, their remote ancestors were marine fish, and before that, various more or less worm-like creatures stretching back still in the sea. So, to the primeval bacteria. Later ancestors lived on land and stayed there for a very large number of generations. Later ancestors still evolved back into the water and became sea turtles. And finally, they returned yet again to the land as tortoises. So again, they returned to the land again, some of which now live in the driest of deserts. For this type of question, actually, elimination is the key factor. Eliminate which questions is not going to be your answer. Option A. They are able to adapt to life in extremely dry environments. No, there is nothing about adaptation. Their original life form was a kind of primeval bacteria. No. They have so much in common with sea turtles. No, they have not so much. Sometimes there are things about them in common, but the most important, remarkable thing here it says, the most significant thing. Maybe these are just right, but these are not the remarkable or most significant thing about the return. They made the transition. They made the transition from sea to land more than once. Here it says all they have returned and then returned back. So answer D is the right answer for this question. Okay guys, this is the end of this video. I hope you liked it. If you like this video, please let me know on the comment section that I'm going to prepare more videos like this. And please give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friend if you are interested, and thanks for watching.